Hey guys, welcome to the Work the Web interview series where I shine the light on different strategies you can use to help you grow your business online in a way that makes sense for you. So there isn't really one right way to take advantage of the online world. So I'm interviewing 11 experts that focused on one thing, and that one thing helped them grow their business in a way that they couldn't even imagine. So today I'm here with special guest Miranda. And we're going to be talking all about how she went from running her business solo to starting and growing a team, which helped her grow her business exponentially. But before we get into that, let me just introduce myself really quick in case you're new around here. I am Mariah, a website strategist over at mariahmagazine.com, where I work with online business owners to help them get more website traffic and improve their SEO by creating a website strategy that's unique to their business goals and their ideal audience. So Miranda, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself really quick?
Yeah, hi, I'm Miranda Nahmias, and I like to call myself a systematic marketing expert, and I specifically work with female online service providers. I provide done-for-you digital marketing services to my clients, as well as share affordable resources for service providers who are looking to grow and scale their businesses. So I really like to teach women and show them how to create repeatable systems in their business so that they're able to have their marketing run on autopilot and have a workflow or a process or a system for everything inside their business.
Yeah, it's so important, like when you're growing a business, to have those systems. And you don't realize how important they are until you don't have them.
Until you don't have them.
And then you're like, whoa, this could probably be a whole lot easier.
I should have listened to Miranda.
Right. And honestly, like I was just on your website not too long ago, and your website in general is insanely helpful. Like all your blog posts and your resources. So if this is people's first time hearing about you, go and spend your lunch hour or 5 hours going and like sweeping through your blog posts and all of your helpful resources. There's some really good information on there. Okay, so let's dive into the questions that I have for you. So how did you get started in the online business world?
Yeah, I don't have like a super inspirational story, but I was in college. I was like a young 20-something-year-old girl, and I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. I ended up majoring in English, and I got my bachelor's degree in English, and then I was kind of like, now what? Like, I was so, I had no clue. So I ended up starting to work for my dad. He has a publishing company, and that was fun. I learned some sort of skills, actual skills that for the real world, like administrative stuff, customer service stuff. I also learned a bit of design and photography. So it was actually a really good experience because I was able to get a lot of different snippets of experience in different areas.
Yeah, you're reaching your hands in all of the pots over there.
It was nice because, it was my dad, and I was just like, hey, I want to do this. Hey, I want to do this. And he kind of let me try out little different areas. But I didn't really want to do that forever because I just didn't his business wasn't super interesting to me, even though I liked the actual skills that I was doing.
Yeah, for sure.
So I decided to take those and go online and start my own thing, and that's how I started.
What's up, internet? I'm I'm here to hang out for a little bit. That's kind of a similar story to me too. I didn't have my dad's online business to go ahead and pick and things like that, but essentially college, you graduated from college. I actually quit, and I was like, I don't need this. I'll figure it out. I was in a website development course, and I switched my major to that, and they were teaching us things that were already 5 years out. And I was like, what is going on here? I was like, you know what? I'm just going to wing it. And I feel like that's just the best way to learn, is when you just end up diving in and sticking your hands in all of those different pots and just being able to be like, wow, do I like this aspect of it? Do I not? Can I put them all together? So I feel like that's the best way to kind of dive in, is just to be curious about it.
I agree. And I think even sometimes if you have an idea of like what you want to do in your mind, sometimes when you're actually doing it for money, it's not like how you pictured it to be. So getting experience in like different niches and different areas, especially when you're first starting out, is like so crucial for growing your business and actually figuring out where you want to narrow down long term.
Yeah. That's really good advice right there. How long have you been in business?
Like 3.5 years.
Oh, yeah, we started out like right around the same time.
Yeah, I think we did.
So like since you started your business, has it always been like smooth sailing, or did you run into like hiccups or growing pains when you were first starting out? Or even when you were like growing your business? Was there anything like super huge that you were like, oh?
Okay, there wasn't like a super huge like oh crap moment, but I mean, people are lying if they say that they start a business and everything's smooth sailing. Like everybody has hiccups, literally everybody. Like you don't run a business if things don't occasionally go wrong.
Yeah, right.
Not real life. So, when I first started my business, I actually felt lucky because I didn't really have too much trouble finding clients, which I feel like is such a common problem. But then I ended up almost having like this additional problem where like I had so many clients that I almost didn't know what to do with myself.
Yeah.
Like I had so much work, I was overwhelmed because I was so focused on getting clients, and I was like getting clients. Oh crap, I have like 1,000 clients.
And then you look up and you're like, whoa, it's like a completely different problem to have.
Yeah.
You're just like, whoa, like I don't know how to handle this. Like I'm obviously really good at getting clients, so that's not my problem. But like now what? Like we have Shirley over here that needs this and Bob over here that needs this. And like, I don't have enough time for me over here. So
I just had so much on my plate. Like I was so overwhelmed that I literally like, I was working like 20-hour days. I just didn't even know what I was doing. It was crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. So, I mean, you basically had to problem solve really quickly because you knew that wasn't a sustainable thing to keep going with. So is that how you came up with the idea to go from solo to like growing a team to help you?
Yeah, I mean, it came more out of necessity than like, oh, I have an idea, I'm going to start a team. It was more like, I have to have a team.
Where are my people at?
So, I mean, when I first started, I considered myself like a virtual assistant. And so I knew what a VA was. So I ended up just hiring a VA. And I also hired my husband part-time because he was still he was in grad school. And then eventually, I mean, more work kept coming in and I kept hiring more people. And then eventually I was like, oh, I kind of have like an agency, I guess.
That's so funny. You like look up one day and you're like, oh, what's up, everybody? Hello. What's your favorite part about having a team?
Oh, this is such a hard question. Like I knew that you were going to ask this and it was really hard to pick an answer. So one of my favorite things about having a team is the aspect of like this community atmosphere in the work that I do. So being an online business owner, especially when you're a solopreneur, it can be kind of lonely. Even if you have other friends who are online, they're not like working with you every day, like in the work with you. So
yeah, it's definitely like probably one of the major differences from working in an office to then working like at home by yourself. And like, I realized that myself too. I was like, well, I would love to talk or bounce ideas off of like problem solving this project to somebody. And then it's like, they don't really get it. They're not in the project. They don't know the client. And it's like, my friends and other online business owners can, chime in when I need them, but it's definitely not the same as like having that everyday community that you have like when you work in an office or when you go to work and you have those people there.
Yeah, I would agree with that completely. And it's something that I almost didn't even realize I was missing. Like at first it was great, like, yay, I don't have coworkers. And then it was like, oh, I don't have anybody.
Yeah. So yeah, that's such a huge thing.
And we become friends too. Like it's not just like, oh, I'm the boss. Like it's a collaborative thing where we're all working together and we get to be creative together. And it's just fun. And then also there's just sort of like the bonus of like, I'm able to make more money because I'm able to take on more work. But really, I just it's like a family. I just like it.
Yeah, for sure. It's a really powerful thing. You know what I mean? You can only do so much by yourself. At some point, it's like you need the support of other people, whether you want to grow a team or like me. I don't think that personally I want to grow a team, but I do have people that help me. I do have a VA. I did hire a bookkeeper. It's just having these people that support my business in aspects that I'm not good at. Like, I don't mind outsourcing things to people because I'm only one human. And I think that's like a big difference for people in the online world.
Yeah.
Is, they think that they have to either stay completely alone by themselves, do everything, or they have to grow an agency. And I think that it's such a big spectrum.
It is. And I would even say that you have a VA, you have a bookkeeper. Like, I would call that a team. It's a small team, but it's still like you in a very small number of people working together on your business. Like, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, for sure. It's just creating like these business relationships.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know, like, branching off of that, I know that there's kind of a big push for entrepreneurs to grow a team in order to grow their business. Like in the online world, I see, a lot of experts recommending people that they grow their team.
Yeah.
What's the biggest misconception that people have maybe about starting a team?
So I see this a lot. People think that they just need to hire a VA. And that's like step number one. And this is how you start a team. You hire a VA. And in my perspective, hiring a VA is like step 10. Like,
yeah.
And also a VA might not even be the kind of team member that you actually need, but it's just what everybody thinks they need, because that's what people tell you that you need.
Yep.
Oh, you should hire a VA. Oh, you should hire a VA.
Yeah.
And then
it's such a broad term too, because like an assistant, it's like, well, what kind of assistant do I need? Well, what do I need help with? And when really it's like you should reflect on what parts of your business you need help with.
So much. Oh my God, 100%. Like, you need to do some thinking first, like what particular pieces of your business do you need help on?
And that's not easy to figure out. I had to do that. And I literally was like, what do I need help with? And I'm like, stuff. It was like hard for me to sit down and like write out what I can hire somebody else to help me with.
Yeah.
Like it takes a few weeks of like brainstorming, writing down your tasks, writing down what you spend time on, what maybe you can be a little hands off with.
I agree. It is a little bit of a process, and it's tough because people want that instant gratification of like, I'm just going to hire somebody and then everything's going to be amazing. But if you do that like pre-work of like introspection before you jump into hiring somebody, it's just going to be better for you in the long run, because then I feel like a lot of people, they hire a VA and they're like, now what do I do? And like, it ends up being a lot more like time consuming and a lot more work to have this VA than they thought it was going to be. It's not quite as easy as they thought it was going to be. And that's where they're going wrong, is they jumped into it a little too fast and should have sort of stepped back, got a little bit more organized, a little bit more introspective first, and then made a more strategic decision in terms of who to hire, when to hire, what to delegate specifically, so that ultimately you're able to get the most out of that team member.
Yeah, especially with creatives, for example. Like, I feel like some of our thought processes are very scatterbrained sometimes. Like me, for example, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do that because I want to do that, and then that, when really it's like I would probably get better results if I was a little bit more systematic and organized with my existence as a human being. But I mean, yeah. So essentially the first step, if somebody wants to grow a team or hire somebody, even if it's a VA versus a full squad of humans, the first step would be to get organized.
Yes, 100%. So I would recommend sort of thinking about your goals, thinking about the main areas of your business that need structure, and then thinking about putting some systems in place. And potentially, I mean, maybe you want to hire somebody like an online business manager who can help you put the systems in place. If you're struggling with actually creating the system, sitting down and making those step-by-step lists and figuring out where you actually need systems, this is where an online business manager would be a better decision than a VA, because a VA is going to sit there and like,
yeah.
okay, what do you need help with? And then
that's a really good idea. If you hire a business manager, typically, would you be able to hire them to like get your systems in place and then you don't have to hire them any longer? Or is this like a long-term commitment?
No, so it depends on the business manager, but a lot of them have sort of like a get your shit together type of package.
Yeah.
They come in and they sort of set everything up, and then you're able to continue to manage it based on the system that they've sort of created for you. Or you can have them do that and then have them on long term as to help you maintain that as well.
That is a really awesome solution.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, that is like a few light bulbs went off in my head. I'm like, Dave, what's up, man? Okay. So that's the first step. So yeah. Let's say that you have a team, you decided to grow a team. What's the biggest issue that you ran into with managing a team of people? Like, especially going from like just doing you to then, oh crap, I have to get all of this stuff organized for all of these people. I have to manage them. I have to make sure that they are like doing the stuff right. You know, there's like so many more components that come into it now.
Yeah, it is definitely a little bit more complicated to have a team. There's just a lot more moving parts and pieces than when it's just you. But I mean, you do end up reaping a lot of benefits. So it's sort of like
equals out.
Yeah. For me personally, the biggest issue that I had was like, I was young when I started my team. I had zero management experience. Like I had a job at CVS before, but I was just like a cashier. I never was like,
I feel like we have like very similar like backgrounds. Like I literally, like I worked at Walgreens as a cashier.
Oh, that's so funny.
Like everything you're saying, I'm like, me.
So I had no idea what I was doing. Like I had a little bit of skills when I started my business, but I had no like interpersonal relationship management, like customer service, like that kind of stuff. So I mean, and I'm an introvert too, so I was like super shy and super awkward, and I knew I needed help, but I wasn't super good at like communicating with people, and it was a little bit difficult for me to figure out like how to become that team leader.
Okay.
But like I sort of dealt with a little bit of that thing where you were like, am I good enough to be doing this? Like, do I even know enough to be able to manage these other like humans? Who am I to have a team? Like,
yeah, like a team. Like I just started my business like, I don't know, half a second ago. Like do I really have like the resources, the knowledge? Like, can I help these clients? I think that's such a common mindset in the online business world. We have so much content thrown at us all the time that we're digesting. We are scrolling on social media. We're seeing these highlights of all of these other businesses it's comparisonitis. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I can totally see how that can come into play, especially when you're bringing other people on.
Yeah. It was tough, but it was more of like a personal like development type thing where I needed to really sort of create sort of a confidence within myself to realize that, hey, actually I'm kind of good at this. Like I like having a team. I can manage these people. And so when I first started out, it was tough, but as I continued and really just, pushed my way through it and really stepped out of my comfort zone, it became easier and easier. And now I really do feel like the boss or whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
In this position where I actually have like real confidence now. Like I kind of faked it until I made it a little bit, but now I feel like I'm here.
Yeah, for sure. That's so powerful. It's crazy. And I wish that honestly we could spend this entire interview just talking about like mindset and like the struggles that we all go through. And like, and then not having that community because we work by ourselves. I feel like it's like a double whammy because it's like, oh my, we're feeling all the feels. And then it's like, who do we talk to about these feels? We only got us and ourselves. And like me, for example, like my family, my friends, they don't run an online business.
No,
I tell them literally like, yeah, I'm going to do a webinar. And they're like, a what? A what? A what? You know what I mean? Like they just have no idea. And they're like, wait, do you have a storefront? Do you go somewhere? And I was like, no. And they're like, you're going to do a class. Do people bring like a piece of paper and a pencil? I was like, it's online, guys. I hang out on the internet. Like,
that's so funny.
So it's just like the relatable factor. I think that comes in that also fuels that mindset.
Yeah, it's almost like this spiral of like you start feeling like scared and nervous and then you have nobody to talk to you about it. So it's just like your thoughts keep going in a circle, and it's hard to break out of, but it's doable.
Yeah, for sure. I totally agree with that. Okay, so into something not as fun is that software, business software. So you manage yourself and people, more people than just you. So is there software that you use to help you run your business and keep everything organized?
Yeah. So I use Asana personally. I actually started out using Asana back when it was just me, and it really grew with me. Like, I feel like it was a good for me as a solopreneur. And then I was able to just like, okay, I'm going to add you to my Asana. I'm going to add you to my Asana. I'm going to add you. And it grew and it grew. And now it's like, this crazy, big, super organized, like system that we use. And I really love Asana a lot.
Okay. Yeah. I use it a little bit for like my own word vomiting and like idea generation type things. Yeah, so I think that it's a really powerful platform. I think that one of the biggest things is like how to get the most out of it, I guess. Like even as a solopreneur, it's like there's so many things that I could do, and then I'm like, there's so many things that I can do.
I know, right?
So yeah, I mean, it would be interesting. I don't like if you had like a screenshot maybe of like just your dashboard, like
totally.
I think that might be super helpful for people. It's like, listen, like you can get it organized and it doesn't have to make you want to pull your hair out.
No, it's really not as bad as it sounds because you do one piece at a time. Like all you need to do is literally one system at a time, and slowly over the course of however long your business has been existing, it builds on itself. And then you look up and you have like this systemized business where with all these different systems. I feel like some people think that they're like, oh, I have to get systemized. And then they think of all the systems and then they get stuck because it seems so overwhelming. But you really just have to do one thing at a time and not like, I'll show you my dashboard, but don't look at it and be like, I could never do that. Like, years in the making.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, even if like after this interview, just go ahead and like send over like a really quick screenshot. I'll go ahead and I'll post it in the blog post or in the description, just so people can see that like this is doable.
Yeah.
Like managing a team doesn't have to be like 45 billion notebooks and like phone calls and emails back and forth. Like there are systems in place to help you do this.
Yeah.
So I'll definitely go ahead and showcase that when you send that over.
Okay.
So another thing is that you have your team showcased on your website. I also know some agencies and people who keep their website more like single person focused, and them having a team isn't as obvious to a potential customer or client. Is there a reason that you choose to highlight your people versus like keeping your brand focused solely on you?
Yeah. So this was a decision that I made. Like it was sort of like I could go this way or I could go this way. And
I see both of them like probably almost equally in the online world.
it's very much a personal decision. Like, I'm not even going to say like the way that I did it is the best way. It's really just like whatever feels right for you. So personally, I actually had like a pretty decent sized team before I ever like came out as having a team.
Yeah.
I like didn't tell my clients unless, I mean, I wouldn't lie. Like if they specifically asked if I had team members, I would tell them, but I didn't like broadcast it out as having a team. And for some reason, for a long time, I was kind of afraid that if I told people I had a team, it would like hurt my business. Like they wouldn't want to work with me. And I'm not really sure why I had that fear, but I've talked to other people and I feel like that's actually a common thing. But
yeah, I would definitely say so. I think that it might stem from like, if somebody chooses to hire you, a lot of people think that like I want to hire you personally. And it's like, they don't think that they're going to get as good of quality maybe if like they pass it off. But like really, as managing a team, it's like, I wouldn't hire somebody if their quality wasn't up to the standards that I would do myself.
Yeah. And honestly, it didn't quite start out this way, but I found that the quality is actually better now in my business than it was when it was just me, because I've started to, I don't know, my team members, like I've almost gotten to the point where like they're just like surpassing how good I ever was at my stuff. Like the longer that they've been on my team and the more creative freedom that I'm giving them and the more responsibility and trust that they have from me, it's like it gives them the chance to really grow and flourish. And now my team does amazing work, and I never could have been able to pull stuff like this off when it was just me. So I think now I sort of have the opinion that like, you know, my clients get the privilege of being able to hire me and my team because we're so awesome. And it's a little bit of a mindset shift where you have to think about it in that way. But I mean, I've never really had any pushback from clients. Like I was scared to tell people, but it's never hurt my business. I mean, my business has only grown since I turned into like an agency. I mean, I don't really call myself an agency because I think that term sounds a little clinical and cold, but I prefer team.
Yeah, for sure.
But being upfront about it and having it right on my sales page. Also, I don't even get a lot of questions because people don't even reach out to me unless they're okay with it because they see it, that it's right there. So it's almost like I don't even hear from people that have a problem with it because they just don't tell me, and it makes it more, I don't know, they come to me knowing that I have a team. Sometimes they have questions about it, but they're never like, ugh, you have a team. Like that's never happened. I don't know why I was so nervous about it, but it's been awesome. And a lot of times I even have people tell me like, I'm so glad that you have a team because I know that like you'll be able to delegate it out and the quality is going to end up being better because you have individual experts working on the different areas of my business and they like that I have a team.
Yeah, that's really important. And I really like that mindset shift. Especially because like us as humans, it's like we think that we can do everything and we can do a lot, but like we can't be experts at everything as much as we would love to be. It's like we get better results when we focus on the things that not only that we're experts in or like that we're really good at, but the things that we're passionate about.
Yes.
Like websites. I will talk about websites all day long. You talk to me about Instagram marketing, I will give you a few tips. I am not passionate about Instagram marketing. You know what I mean? So it's like if you just get more results when you can then delegate and be able to have that person focus on the aspect in business that they're good at and they're passionate about.
That's so true. And it's really like a win-win-win because you get to focus on what you love doing and are good at. Your team members, instead of being general, like just having like a VA that does little bits and pieces of everything, they get to focus on what they love doing the most. And your clients get good quality results because everybody is super focused on what they're the best at. So you're always getting stuff that's just like amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So this question I kind of just came up with, how did you find your people that you hired that are on your team?
It's a little bit of a, like, I don't really have like a method that I use to like find people. A couple of people were like friends. A couple people were students of mine that stood out to me. I'm in Create Your Laptop Life, and they have like a hire form. I use that form sometimes.
Okay.
Two people were college student friends of my husband when he was in grad school.
Oh, so that's so fun.
It's just like a bunch of different people.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it's just like keeping the community open and keeping your eye on like what you need and what people can fill these needs that, you know, are going to care about your clients as much as you do.
Yeah, I actually have like a running list of like people who would be good future potential team members. Every time I see somebody like doing something cool online, I write their name down and what they specialize in, so that next time I need to fill an opening in that area, I have like a list of people I can reach out to.
Girl, you said that you didn't have a system when you have an undercover system. You can't even help but have a system. Like, you're so system based that you're like, systems just fly out. Okay, so if you could do everything all over again, would you do anything differently?
This is a hard question. I want to say like not really, like, because I feel like it's actually been pretty good. Like, I've had some ups and downs, but mostly ups. And one small thing is that I wish I would have started getting organized a little bit earlier and started growing my team a little bit earlier. I kind of waited until, like I said before, like I had all these clients, and then I was like, oh no, I don't know what to do with myself. And I wish I'd kind of foreseen that I was going to need help and put
systems in place
a little bit earlier, so that I wasn't like, oh my God, I have so much work, systems and the people. And like, I was worried about the expenditure. Like, I didn't want to hire somebody if I couldn't afford them. But hiring them actually like allowed me to take on more work, so it almost like paid for itself. And I wish I would have realized that first and just like pulled the plug, like just jumped in.
That's really important. Especially like with the expenses. I know that that's always, you know, something, financials are something that hold a lot of people back. But at the same time, it's like, there is technically no money coming out of your pocket. It's essentially your clients are paying for it.
Yeah, it ends up working out. Like, it really does. I mean, when I hired my first team member, I was making revenue like $1,000 a month. Like, I really had it was nothing. I still wish I would have hired earlier, which is so funny.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I think that especially for people listening to this, I think that might be, you know, a huge push to be like, you know, you don't have to think that you're ready, because if you're running a business, you probably might be ready. If
you're thinking you might be ready, you're ready. Like, you already should have started.
Okay. Yeah, that's really good advice. Okay, so I know social media is like a huge platform for growing businesses online. Can you highlight one thing that you do on one of your favorite platforms that really helps your business grow?
Yeah, so I love Pinterest so much. Pinterest is my favorite platform. I guess I kind of like chose Pinterest to be my favorite platform because I really like blogging and writing and content marketing. So it was a good fit because Pinterest is perfect for sharing content, and then you're able to get traffic from it. And I'm really glad that I decided to focus on it because it's really able to help me grow my audience, and it's a really good fit for my goals and how I work in my business, where, you know, I'm creating content and I'm also getting traffic to that content.
Yeah, for sure. Personally, I probably love Pinterest the most too. I love creating content as well. And I feel like it's nice because it's also like a set it and forget it platform. It's probably the only set it and forget it platform.
Honestly, it really is, because the other platforms you kind of can set it and forget it, but then you don't actually get results.
Yeah, for
with
sure.
Pinterest, you totally can set it and forget it, and you actually really do get results.
And not only it's like sometimes I check my Pinterest analytics and I'm like, I feel like I haven't been on Pinterest in 12 years. And I look at my Pinterest analytics and I was like, but I have grown so much. Like, go me. Like, I really appreciate Pinterest. Okay, so if you could give people one actionable tip about growing a team, what would it be? I know that you gave like a whole bunch and a lot of insight, but if we can narrow it down to like just one thing, maybe like how to get started with it, or like what they should start thinking about.
This is so hard. I think what you should, like, the very first thing that you should do is sit down and figure out what you have to do in your business that you are not good at. For me, this is math. B, what you have to do in your business that you hate doing. For me, this is also math. But also stuff like, I don't know, like, I really don't like getting super into, like, I don't know, even like posting on Instagram. I'm just like not like a huge Instagram person. Like, so Instagram was one of the things on my list as well. So I would sit down and make a list. Stuff you hate, stuff you aren't good at. And then that's where I would start with delegating. So create a system. You only have to do it once. I know that you hate doing it, but you only have to do it once, and then delegate it out so that you can take those things off your plate. And it's like just this wave of relief goes over you where you're like, wow, I never have to do that again. Like it's like a drug. Like,
yeah, for sure.
Amazing. And then that also frees you up to have more time to like do the stuff you do like, and also get more clients.
Yeah, that's a really good tip. Do you have any resources or recommendations for like more information? I think you have some content maybe about hiring VAs or something like that.
I have like a couple of blog posts. So one resource I would recommend specifically is my framework. I have a systemize and scale framework for how to get your business systemized and then scale it by growing a team. And you can get that at systemizeandscale.co/framework.
And I will go ahead and link that resource in the blog post so viewers can access that easily. And now the last and probably most important question: where can people find you online and how can they connect with you?
Yeah, so I'm just at mirandanahmias.com. I'll spell that. It's MirandaNahmias.com. And I'm just at Miranda Nahmias on all social media platforms.
Awesome. I will go ahead and add those links to the post as well. Miranda, I just want to thank you for being a guest on the Work the Web interview series. I think that we went over a ton of helpful information for people that are curious about starting a team to help them grow their business. And if you guys are watching, make sure that you check out the other interviews in this Work the Web series. I've talked to a lot of really, really helpful online business owners, and they gave some insanely valuable tips on what they've focused on to help them grow their business in ways that works for them. So, as always, if you have any questions watching this video for me or for Miranda, go ahead and comment them right below this video. And then real quick, just give it a thumbs up for us, and we will talk to you next time.